Hello all 10th class students. This video is especially for you people. You have a very difficult bit in part B, error finding or editing a paragraph. Nobody can guess what mistakes will be there and how to sort out the mistakes, find out the mistakes. It is quite difficult for anybody. So I have got some techniques which may be useful for finding the mistakes. Few of them I mentioned here. 2 plus v1 or noun or pronoun. 2 plus v1, generally 2 after we find 2 Ramu. I gave it to Ramu or I gave it to him, noun or pronoun, and I want to play. 2 plus v1, only v1 should be written. V1 and here play is v1 and place is v1, but this is the original form, base form, and this is derived word. Play plus s or es gives place, so play is the base word or root word. It is called a root word. So here 2 plus only v1 should be there, no other words like 2 given, next 2 playing or 2 plays is absolutely wrong. That means here only if this kind of verbs are given, then you will have to write only v1 base form. 2 plus v1 base form. And next verb mistakes will be there. Verb mistakes will be there. Verb mistakes, what type of verb mistakes will be there? Main verb mistakes and the helping verb mistakes. Main verb mistakes, we can understand the context of the paragraph and then we can find out whether it is v1 or whether it is v2. We can find out that. Main verb mistakes. And next helping verbs mistakes. Helping verbs mistakes also can be understood by the context, but there are some other helping verbs, be forms. You see here, be forms after generally we write b4 in active voice. If it is active voice, be forms after v4 should be there. If it is passive voice, if the voice is passive voice, then b forms, these are the b forms, and b forms after only v3 should be there, must be there. Okay, now next suppose I am writes. If I have written I am writes, then here the subject I is performing the activity, that means it is active voice, and here after in active voice after b forms there should be only v4. Here it is not writes, it should be writing. Okay, so this type of techniques you can use. Next have forms. Have forms after only v3 form should be written. Have forms after, whether it is present perfect or whether it is past perfect, only have forms after only v3 form should be used. Next do forms, generally I did not completed we say, but it is not I did not completed. Do forms after do, does, did, whatever the do forms we use in our sentences, in our voice, we have to use only v1, that is original word, not a derived form. Original word we have to use, only base form you will have to use after do forms. These are some of the techniques for helping verbs after mistakes. Next modal verbs. Modal verbs also, whenever you find modal verbs, compulsory after them only base form should be there. Modal verbs are here, some of the help modal verbs are mentioned here. Will, would, shall, should, can, could, may, might, must, ought, dare, need, used to, let. These are some of the modal verbs. After these modal verbs there should be only v1 base form. Next, while past continuous, while is a word, if at all you find while, blindly you can write past continuous. While after what should be there? Past continuous tense should be used. Past continuous structure was or were plus v4. That type of structure should be there after while. In case any wrong structure is given, then you will have to correct that. Next, adjective plus noun. Generally, adjective plus noun should be written. In the previous exam, house storage given. I think it is in SA1, house storage was given. Storage house after adjective noun. Next, article mistakes. Articles are a or an or the. And here articles a or an means only one. Next, we cannot say a pens. That means maybe the article is wrong here, or maybe the noun is wrong. So what you have to, if the context says that plural word, then the pens may be useful there, right? Okay, based on the context you can choose maybe article mistake or maybe noun mistake, right? That you have to do. Next, a or an or the. Next, but we never say a woman or an woman. A woman. Next, that's correct. Next, adverb of manner. Adverb of manner is after noun. In the recent pre-final exam, we got carefully trunk in the editing. It is not carefully trunk. Trunk carefully. Lowered down, trunk carefully. That should be written. So reverse given. So we have to correct the structure. That is trunk noun first, then adverb of manner last. Next, subject verb agreement. This is very difficult task. Subject it is. We have to know subject verb agreement. That I will make a video in the near future. Okay, very difficult it is. Next, singular plurals. You need to see the context whether it is singular plural, singular required or plural required. And some words will be there like luggages. There won't be any luggages. Furnitures won't be there. They wantedly they give furnitures, but you have to correct that it is not furnitures, it is furniture. Okay, next, confusing nouns. Confusing nouns like son, sun. Instead of correct word, they give different words. Okay, now he called his son. In the sense, son is required, but they give he called his sun son. So you have to correct that. Confusion words like one, one. We won the match. What they give? They give you, we won the match. Like this they give. So you need to understand that it is not won, we won. You have to understand. So confusing words, these are some of the confusing words. You need to be careful. Next, pronouns mistakes. Like context may be talking about a male person and they give she or her like that. So you will have to carefully see the context whether what type of pronoun is required there. Next, preposition mistakes. In place on place in, beside place besides, like that mistakes they will give. Next, conjunctional mistakes. But place and place but or, that kind of mistakes they give. Next, gender forms. Gender forms, instead of tiger they give tigress. So you will have to rectify that. Next, after, if a statement contains after adverb, then first action should be with the help of past perfect tense. Past perfect tense. That means after plus subject plus had plus V3. Next, before in the name itself, after in the name itself, A stands for 1. That means first activity and second activity. First activity always said to be in the past perfect tense, and before B stands with the number of letter 2, so B represents to the before represents to the second activity, that means only simple past before, right? Okay. Next, hardly, scarcely, barely. These words after reciprocal inversion we call them. That means verb should be in a question manner. In a question manner. Hardly had I reached home. Hardly had I reached home. My daughter hugged me, kissed me, anything like that. Hardly after what should be there? Receive inversion of verb and past perfect tense. Next, when hardly had I reached home, when should be here, when should be written. Hardly or barely or scarcely after when should be used. Next, no sooner after than should be used. THAN, than should be used. These are some of the techniques that I noticed may be useful for 10th class students, and if you have felt any difficult in error finding, if you notice any of the differences, you can please comment there. Right. Thank you. Please subscribe.